Welcome to B Shifter. I am John Vance, your host. And today, Nick Brunacini, Josh Blum, and I will be listening to audio from Cobb County, Georgia. Blue Card Department that had a rescue, physical rescue, successful. You'll hear how that sounded on the radio, how command reacted to it, and how the communication process went using command function number 5. So let's take you now to Cobb County, Georgia, and a little preamble from Nick, Josh, and myself. Great example of how it sounds when you have a physical rescue. What else do you know about this incident, Josh?
Well, it's a single-family, 2-story house. The whole thing's, pretty well coordinated. A lot of good communications, both up and passed back down from the incident commander. I think that contributed to them having the successful rescue here. And I think we're going to hear some other good communications pieces of, specific needs and how they were coordinating the work and focusing a bit on the known information that they were getting from people who were at the incident of the location of this victim.
Here we go to Cobb County, Georgia.
Engine 6, first due in, engine 23, engine 22, truck 22, rescue 23, battalion 1, battalion 5. Respond to a house fire, 4890 White Drive. They're advising possibly one entrapped. She is in the back upstairs and a dog.
Battalion 1 radio.
Battalion 1.
I go working fire, and if you will, go ahead and contact all cells, send you unit.
We're just clear, making a working fire.
Engine 6 radio. If you hadn't done so, let's make this working fire. We got a column of smoke on the horizon.
I'm clear to working fire. Engine 10 and squad 7, battalion 2, air 30, and Puckett, 4890 White Drive.
Engine 6 radio. We're on the scene. We have a working fire. We have heavy fire showing from the alpha side. Engine 6 is going to have command. We're going to be pulling engine 3/4 for fire control. We're going to be out doing a 360.
Clear, engine 6 on scene, working heavy fire from alpha side, doing 360.
Puckett 331, the job.
Puckett, go ahead.
Going to White Drive. I'll stay on Anderson now.
Radio battalion 1.
Battalion 1.
Offstel wants to know if you need mutual aid.
That's great radio. Commander radio, we've been extended delay, getting water on the fire. We have a long setback.
Clear, extended delay, getting water on the fire.
6 Charlie, 6 Bravo, ready for water. Commander radio, follow-up report. We have a 2-story on the basement. Basement is clear. We have heavy fire showing from the outside.
Clear, 2-story residential heavy fire from the A side.
Engine 23 is on. Rescue 23, level 1 stage. And Engine 23, go ahead and pull up the second lineup. Rescue 23. Rescue 23, clear doing search.
Rescue 23 doing search.
Command Engine 23. Command Engine 23. 23, go ahead. Anyone sure if you're clear? I need a second line. We're pulling the second line. Hey, try to help us get this on keep. We need some more lines.
Yeah, so I think it's a good stopping point there to talk about a few things. They pulled up initial radio report. Again, that didn't check every single box if you were going off of a evaluation sheet, but I think painted somewhat of a picture of what was going on. Everybody knew what they were responding to. I think it was important when they came back and said that they were going to be delayed getting water on the fire due to this big setback. It just painted a picture for everybody that this thing isn't, sitting 30 feet off the street, and that, companies were going to be able to get right to it quickly. And then in the 360 report comes back with, it is 2 stories sitting on a basement, and the basement's all clear. We talk about that a lot in basement land, that it's critical every single time that we verify what's going on in the basement. And they took the time to still get and gather information, though there was a report of people trapped at the building, so that they weren't missing anything else that was going on. That company officer had done a size up, figured out what he was going to do with his company, finished at 360. They started to stretch that line, and then the next 2 companies, go level 1, and he had an assignment for both of them, one of them to search and to get another one to pull a backup line to assist them with fire control.
The tactics, when you look at kind of what was going on the front end, they had reports of people trapped. The initial arriving companies, first engine takes command, the rescue gets there, another engine. So they know they've got a known rescue to make. There's a reported victim that the caller gave them. They're putting the infrastructure in to get 2 lines on the fire to control the fire in support of the search. It's so, and Josh said it, you pretty much knew what was going on. The one thing that would have helped clarify maybe is to report the location of exactly where the fire was. But outside of that, you had enough information to know your basement was clear, you had a working fire somewhere in the building, and you had a victim on the 2nd floor. And then the initial response is all designed to knock the fire down and get the victim out. So, I mean, it was, as you're responding, it's making sense what's going on.
And I think when we talk about the system, besides the initial radio report, the follow-up report, and those few assignments, you know, we heard early on from the dispatch that in their system, they got a working fire response that they end up adding a few other units. And you could tell that dispatch was connected and that they were a bit on the same page, because they had some other communications about making sure that there were transport units responding to this incident. So it's the entire response, which really, in a lot of ways, includes dispatch. You know, dispatch helping the people that are actually wheels rolling to the event, manage the event, and make sure they got the resources that they need to work through and solve the problem.
Well, and this is kind of normal in the front end, especially when you have the building that it's not right there. So you're going to have to travel further to collect more information. So in a lot of times, that's the initial report ends up serving as the incident action plan. And it's not uncommon that comes in little bursts of information. Here's what I know now, and they give it. And then you update it. So what's good is you have this standard list of info that you're going to capture, and that's going to kind of be the basis of what the first part of that operation is going to look like. See, sometimes you listen to these things, and like they'll start off a little vague in the beginning, and then like a victim will distract everybody. So 30 seconds later, they're screaming in the radio, they're grunting, and it doesn't make any sense. This one, it started off with a little bit of information, and you kept building and adding. So as the incident played on, you knew more and more about what was going on, which is really kind of the goal of the thing. And again, it was, okay, we got to save somebody. To do that, we're going to have to knock the fire down, do X, Y, and Z. So all of that was happening. And that's really kind of what the system's designed, is we don't show up to the scene to take command and to be safe. We show up to the scene to put the fire out and save the victim. The quickest, best way to do that is to structure that response using the system we use. So really, the system gets us there quicker. They're going to get an all clear and put that fire out 5 times as fast using a system that takes them from the beginning to the middle to the end.
Engine 23 is on scene. Engine 22 is on scene with 3. Truck 22 is on scene with 3.
Squad 7's on scene, 5 personnel. Battalion 1's going to be on scene. Battalion 1 command. I understand you're at fire attack. You got a single line stretch out the side. Engine 23, you got a second line fire attack. Got rescue 23 doing a search. That's correct. Give me a can.
Yes, affirmative. We need inspections on that lines up here. What's the one hand? Just the third line, sir.
Okay, confirming you need a third line on location up there.
Negative. We need some more hands. Just a hose line, sir.
Okay, I'm clear. Battalion 1 to radio. I'm going to take it from here. Battalion 1 will have command. We're going to remain in offensive strategy. We do have working fire. We've got still flames showing from it looks like a 2-story hotel in the basement. Go ahead and continue the balance of the alarm. I understand you've got 2 units coming from Austell.
To pick up this next piece of it, we talk about how important it is with that command transfer, and that really you're not in command unless you know what's going on. And here, clearly, that battalion got there, communicated with that mobile IC that was inside the building, verified, what companies were doing what, asked for that CAN report. There had to be some clarification on that. We know that when you're working inside that building, you cross that threshold and you're in the IDLH, that sometimes, communications can be challenging. So it wasn't a big rush. It was like, let me find out exactly what's going on so I know what the current incident action plan is, so that, that incident commander that's going to be sitting in the car, strategic IC, can say, this is what's going on now, and this is what the next piece of this looks like, of what needs to be accomplished based off of what that company inside was reporting.
Clear Battalion 1, command.
Truck 22 to command.
Go ahead, Truck 22.
Hey, Chief. Well, we got a lot of searchable spaces on this Charlie side, second floor. We need to put a hole in this thing pretty quick. We need to get a ladder up. Give me 2 ladders up here so we can vent this. Give me a crusher so we can get the VES done.
Okay, I'm clear. Squad 7, truck 22, you handle VES. Engine 22, you assist with that as well. Command of Battalion 5, I need you on the Alpha side. I'll let you know who you got once you're in position.
10-4, heading that way.
Command to Engine 23, let me have a can.
All still 2's on scene.
Command to Engine Alt, Still 2, y'all come on up, I want you on deck. Alpha side, please.
Clear on deck.
48 to Battalion 1.
Battalion 1, go ahead.
10-4. That's the only engine we have responding from Austell. We don't have 2 responding, just the 1.
Command to truck 22 officer.
Go ahead, Command.
I pick it. We just been told by the homeowner there is an individual, second floor, Charlie side, 48-year-old male, correction, female.
We got squad going second floor right now, Charlie side. We got truck 22 going to the roof.
Okay, I'm clear. You've got Battalion 5 coming up. It's going to be Alpha. Please time with.
To this point, they're coordinating. They're getting lines in place on the interior to put the fire out, which is going to make it better for the victim that's inside the building and the building and the firefighters operating in the building. And then they're communicating what the incident action plan is over the radio so that everybody's on the same page. So they had companies operating on the Charlie side that were doing vent enter search through those windows because that's where they had that verified report of this victim from, somebody who was on scene. And then they were working to coordinate their ventilation efforts. So they're getting lines into place, and then they were getting companies in place to, start to support and do ventilation. You heard the Battalion 5, company or that battalion chief pull up, and the strategic IC had assigned several companies. He's got quite a bit going on. So he pushes Battalion 5 to that Alpha position and said, hey, just let me know when you're in place because there's a bunch of moving parts here.
And probably next to a Mayday, the secondary oh shit moment is somebody telling you there's a victim inside. I mean, that's why we're here. But I'm sure you get an adrenaline pump if you're sitting in the command post and you find out that there is a victim inside. And that IC was calm, cool, and collected when he transferred that information describing where that victim was on the second floor on the Charlie side, that it was a 46-year-old female victim. Corrected himself after he on the second time around. But just what a great report to those interior companies or the companies responsible for the search. And, we talk about this a lot. If that commander, and I've heard it time and again, especially when people are mobile command, an IC will get on and scream and yell on the radio that you've got people trapped. Well, all that does is increase the anxiety of everybody else on the fire ground trying to operate to save the victim. So in this case, this IC is modeling excellent communication and staying calm while transferring very important information to the companies.
Well, the incident started under control. First unit got there, took command, managed the initial operations, put 2 lines in service, identified somebody to search a particular area where the victim was reported. You transfer command. So now the IC number 2 has got something to actually build on, and you can hear him starting to plug the tactics in now. They're doing ventilation on the second floor. They're having to coordinate. So that's good. So if you've got the victim on the second floor and the second floor is just packed with smoke, the last thing you want to do is open that door and put the smoke on the victim. So they're starting to ventilate the second floor. And then, so every action they take, they can build on. They lose nothing. So the whole thing just keeps ramping in a positive direction because you took control from the beginning. See, if IC number 2 got there and the whole thing was a shit sandwich, they were going to spend the next 10 minutes getting it under control if they could. And then the victim, who knows what happens with them. So it's like the fire department showed up and they did what the fire department's supposed to do. Basically, they managed themselves to a successful, at least midpoint in this case.
Command radio, just confirm we got an ambulance in now.
Command radio, show us on the scene with 3 personnel.
Command Engine 10, I want you to level 1 behind Engine 6, please.
Clear level 1 behind Engine 6.
Command Engine 6, go ahead.
Engine 6, man. Go ahead with your job.
Engine 6, give me a can report, please.
We're on the second floor. We still have some active fire. We have searches being conducted on the second floor. Have no needs at this time.
Okay, I'm clear. It looks like you got bulk of fire knocked down.
Battalion 5 to command.
Go ahead, Battalion 5.
Where are we getting reports of that victim?
I spoke with the homeowner, Charlie side, second floor, 48-year-old female.
Charlie Division Command.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Let's get another couple of you up here with a 24-foot extension ladder. We can make another knock on number one of these bedrooms on the number 2 floor.
Okay, I'm clear. Okay, also be advised, it should be in the middle of the house on that Charlie side. Command Engine 10, once you get a 24-foot, meet with Charlie Division for VIS on that Charlie side.
24-foot, Charlie side, meet with VIS.
Target 331 Command, we're at Wyatt and Brown, which stage? Command's clear. Command all still 2. Just want you to get on deck, Alpha side. Command's clear, you got a victim coming on the Alpha side. Command the Puckett unit, you got a victim coming on the Alpha side. Go ahead and get your stretcher and equipment, come on down. Command radio, you're clear, we got a victim coming on the Alpha side.
Charlie Division Command.
Command, go.
Get a company up here with a sign-up kit, please.
We're to the point where the interior crew, found the victim. And before that, we heard some communications about early on the victim's on the Charlie side, and then they got a little bit more information that the victim is towards the center of the house. So, I don't know exactly how this house was laid out a little bit, but, a vent and search crew coming from the Charlie side, they were going to room, hopefully those bedroom doors were closed, or if they weren't, they were closing them. But the chances of them maybe getting from the Charlie side to the center of the house wasn't very good. But they still had crews on the interior doing searches, which is who ends up finding this victim. So they key up, hey, we found a victim. We're coming out the Alpha side. Command right away acknowledges that, and then make sure that medic crew is bringing appropriate EMS equipment forward. And then we talk so much about everybody helping each other and working on a system. Command didn't say it, but that sector division boss on the Charlie side keyed up and said, hey, let's get a cyano kit coming up here too, which is, I think, pretty forward thinking of everybody working together to make sure that we're doing everything we can for this victim that we're about to, that they were about to pull out from the second floor.
Well, and it was well managed. If you look at the timeline, they get there, they take command, they put the necessary task in place to achieve the tactical priorities. As you listen to this, is about 10 minutes into it, you've already transferred command, you're organizing it, you got a division, a real division boss that's in place, and then you start hearing the results of our action plan. So the IC comes back at one point and tells the interior crew acquisition 6, hey, it looks to me like you got fire control. So that's the way that really plays out typically, is when you're making physical rescues like that, generally you will get fire control ahead of your all clears, because you have to put the fire out to rescue the people. It's those two things aren't separate. You got to. That's why we send so many people to the scene, so you can do more than one thing at the same time. Well, and you could hear this thing as it's going on. It was under control the whole time. So now you're plugging in division bosses to keep tactical control, and now you're ensuring that you got tactical reserves in places. And you could hear the chatter back and forth between command and the dispatch center of the resources that they had. No, you only got one company from the next city over, the one that he had just put on deck. So it's like, okay, I still got my tactical reserve here. So it's all going the right way. The fire's going out. We found the victim. We're bringing them out. We got the resources to treat them and start that process. So it's a standard operation at that point. I have a guess that you're going to have an all clear and under control here in a couple minutes. Then you're going to do a little overhaul phase. Then everybody's going to come together in the front yard and do a little after action review and say, okay, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's what it's supposed to look like. And then everybody goes back and they can be happy about it. So we did our job and we saved the 43-year-old female. We had the EMS form filled out before we had her rescued, actually. That's how far ahead they were with the thing. It was well planned. And see, we used to joke that you could go be a paramedic in any city, but you couldn't be an IC. Now it's because you just don't understand them because of the dialects of the regional areas. But the actions are all the same now. That's starting to standardize.
Commander Charlie, are you on the Alpha side?
That's 10-4.
Command's clear.
Alpha Division Command.
Go ahead, Alpha.
Rescue 23 is making their way with the victim to the end of the driveway.
Okay, I'm clear. Command to Puckett, you got a victim coming to the end of the driveway. Command to Alpha.
Alpha, go ahead.
Okay, who brought that victim out?
Rescue 23.
Command's clear.
Alpha Division Command.
Go ahead, Alpha.
Yeah, if we can get some air bottles up here, too, would be good.
Command's clear. Command to Air 30, you clear on that. Command to Alpha.
Alpha, go ahead.
You need to run down on the units that you have with you.
Alpha Division Command.
Alpha, go.
Go with your rundown.
I got Engine 6, Fire Attack, Engine 23, Fire Attack, Rescue 23. They're up here with me. Got Engine 22, Truck 22, Engine 10, Squad 7. And you've got All-Stealth Engine 2 on deck.
All right, 10-4. Who do you have with you right now? Engine and Rescue 23?
Repeat your last traffic.
Do you have Engine or Rescue 23 with you?
All is clear. It's just Rescue 23. Or is Engine 23 with Rescue 23?
Yeah, that's 10-4. You got Engine 23 out there with us.
Really, they're 20 minutes into it. They pulled the victim out. They're going in a little different direction with their incident action plan. That chief that was on the Charlie side that was kind of overseeing that vent under search operation that they were doing moved to the Alpha side because that's where all the work was going to happen. And I mean, the best part of that is command came back and told Battalion 5, who was now Alpha, hey, here's the companies. Let's just verify who's where and who's doing what, since we're going into this new incident action plan moving forward.
Two things I noticed here is, number one, having your private ambulance on your fire channel, that's high thinking. And there's certain systems out there that don't allow that interoperability, not because the ambulance isn't capable of being on the band, but because this is our fire channel and we don't want the private ambulance on our channel. The high-performing systems out there, even if it's a private or third-party ambulance, those companies or those ambulances are on the fire tactical channel. So it's very good to have this Puckett ambulance, which is a private ambulance, on the fire channel so they understand what's going on, they hear where they're needed, and they're monitoring the fireground activity that's going on. The other thing is that division accountability. We really think a lot of times this gets lost with people on who's responsible for what. The IC has strategic accountability where they have a command worksheet, and that IC understands what companies are assigned to the divisions within the fireground. He even knows who's on deck right now. So they were both on the same page, both the division boss and the IC, on where the companies were supposed to be, except for Engine 23. They were trying to find them, but I'm sure they were engaged in perhaps helping Rescue 23 with the rescue and some part of that. That part can get really confusing, but they were able to cinch that all up and understand exactly where everybody was and had good accountability after the rescue. On Sunday, we pulled 3 cats out of a building, and I had 8 firefighters on the cats working because we have these BART bags, these animal bags that were, with oxygen and all this stuff. So they had 3 BART bags up there. I had a firefighter doing CPR. It's easy to get sucked into administering oxygen to cats. Imagine being on the fireground when you pull people out. But it sounded like people on this one, very disciplined. We didn't lose any companies. They knew where people were when treatment took over.
There's a picture in the paper of firefighters with a 43-year-old victim they saved, and they're wheeling them to the ambulance. Working 3 cats in the front yard. You're going to be on every Good Morning America show in the world. Yeah, the fire chief will become the prom queen of the city for the next period of time. In fact, my dad used to joke that he would carry a kitten with him and put a little smoke on it. And that would just be his propaganda machine that he would use to re-educate the children every year.
Well, wrapping this one up, what do you have to say about this, Josh, overall?
Yeah, I think I'm going to reiterate something Nick said. If it starts off good and stays organized and we address the critical factors and we communicate our incident action plan so everybody's on the same page, it makes it so much easier for when the strategic IC gets there, that they're assuming, what's going on. They start to develop their own incident action plan, and then they can easily reinforce, the whole command system, because the task level, they were clearly doing their work. The incident commander reported over the radio that they were seeing, conditions had changed. It appeared that they had fire control. They were continuing to search. They were coordinating all their efforts. Yeah, I think it's just another proof and use of the system.
Yeah, it was perfect. They said, okay, ahead of the event, this is what our goal is going to be. And then working backwards, you respond to the scene, and that's exactly what happened. There wasn't a whole lot of waste in any of the thing. Every task supported the incident action plan. The other biggest thing about taking command and the benefit it gives you is it allows those task level companies to work without later arriving responders getting there and screwing everything up and getting on top of it and disjoining the operation. So we take command from the minute we get there, and then there's a progression of things based on the work that we're doing and the number of firefighters that we need to complete the work. So all you're doing is the system is very expandable and contractible. We do that quickly, and we try not to over command and we try not to under command, basically. Just right. Goldilocks command, if you will. And that's kind of what happened here. You could hear it. At no time during that operation, they had 2 strategic and tactical level officers running that for a fire and in a good sized 2-story house with a basement with a victim. That's all the command presence you needed. The first in company activated the system the way it was supposed to. They took command, they assigned it the front end, and then the later arriving strategic and tactical bosses had an operation that they could take the management of over and continue to the good conclusion that they got with it. So if something goes haywire in the middle of that, is we use that same system to recover from that. Now you can see that because that never happened, because the crews did what they were supposed to do, is that the whole operation was geared towards putting the fire out and saving the victim. Imagine putting a Mayday in there, what that would have done to saving a victim and putting the fire out. It greatly disrupts it. Biggest disruptor that there is when we become the victim. So, and that's the reason we take command, is so we don't turn ourselves into the victim. As Patton said, you never won a war dying for your side. You win the war killing the fire.
It's time for a timeless tactical truth. Let's shuffle the deck. And today's card is the 5 of diamonds. 5 of diamonds. Ranking officers who want to serve as the IC must respond to the scene, find the current IC, and go through the regular command transfer process. Ranking officers who want to serve as the IC must respond to the scene, find the current IC, and go through the regular command transfer process. So let's talk about the standard process that the IC takes command as the second arriving IC.
Well, you take command. The first arriver, the officer, the first unit to get to the scene establishes command. That's usually an engine. That is designed to manage the front end of it, the first few arriving units, 3 to 4. Then you have somebody who it's his only job to manage the strategic and tactical level of the incident operation, is typically serves as IC number 2. And that's the first arriving response chief that gets to the scene. And then, like you said, Vance, on the 5 of diamonds, they have to be on the scene and then find the current IC, because there can only be one IC at a time. The way we do that is over the tactical radio channel, because the second IC should not get out of their vehicle. The only reason the second IC should ever get out of their vehicle, there's 2 reasons: to go to a bigger command post, or if your vehicle catches on fire. That's it. No other reason. Because what happens is IC number 2 is the reason we transfer command is to improve it. So IC number 2, sitting in the vehicle, is supported with the support officer, is in the best place to manage the strategic requirements of the incident. So, and then that routine, IC number 2 contacts IC number 1. They confirm the position and function of the units that were assigned in the front end of it. And then IC number 1 gives a CAN report to IC number 2. Then IC number 2 takes command. And this was a perfect example, the radio thing we just listened to. And then IC number 2 goes to the dispatch center and they become their partner kind of in the thing. But throughout this incident, you heard IC number 2 give an intel back like a strategic, I don't know, can reply to the companies. Hey, we're inside doing this thing with firefighting. Hey, it's good. Yeah, it's knocked down from out here. Whatever you're doing is working. Keep going. So everybody's on the same page. You're managing the incident action plan. That's the reason we transfer command, is to continue managing that incident action plan. IC1 starts it, but could you imagine being inside that burning building and now I'm IC number 1 and I got to do all this other strategic level bullshit while I'm actually trying to put the fire out and save the victim. So, I mean, it was the perfect handoff there.
I'd like to take that one step further, as far as sometimes there's some confusion about when you're going to reinforce an attack position with another battalion. When that happens, it's not a command transfer per se, but there's a process that you should go through to make sure that that person that's going to be responsible for that geographic area, 1, is there, 2, knows what their specific task, location, and objective is in that area, and 3, what companies are working for them in that area. So it's not just a battalion 7, I'm going to make you alpha, and then all of a sudden they just have all this information and they're alpha, and it doesn't work like that. It still needs to be communicated that this is where you're going to work. This is what your task, location, and objective is, really. And this is the companies that are going to be working for you. No different than when the strategic IC pulls up. They're not in charge of nothing until they have the information that they can actually be in charge of something.
Well, and to follow up on what Josh just said, is we start with establishing command, then the next step in the organization. The first organizational unit is strategic. It's command. So we establish an IC to come up with an IEP for whatever's going on at that time. Then we transfer command to somebody that's their job. They're a strategic officer. They're going to sit in the vehicle. Well, the way the incident organization works is all those task level units belong to that strategic IC. They are that person's responsibility until they assign a tactical level boss to take whatever units that they assign to them. Then they become, in our incident we just listened to, when they made Charlie and then they moved them to Alpha later, when all those companies, once IC and Alpha get done and say, this is who you have, they belong to Alpha. They don't belong to the IC anymore. That's why you make them. See, and they're a tactical boss is static. They're in the warm zone of the attack position. Working company officers are dynamic. They're inside a hazard zone. They got too much shit going on to stay in command past putting the fire out in the first couple minutes. If you don't put the fire out in the first 5 minutes, at some point, you're going to have to transfer command and do just what happened here. So, and that's really kind of the goal of the command system. It's the way we manage safety for everybody. That's the other part of this. So the system serves double duty in that case. Well, incident command standard is in the firefighter safety standard. That's the effect that managing yourself has on the task level. So it's better for everybody. And this incident, everybody left the scene that was working there, all the firefighters. Didn't sound like anybody was injured or hurt. And they saved the victim. That's what the system did, exactly what it was supposed to do. It's what it's for. That's why we use it the way we do.
Well, that wraps up this B Shifter. Thanks so much for listening. As we always ask, if you haven't told your buddies yet about this, please tell a friend. Get the word out. We love doing this podcast. We love sharing the word with everyone that we can. And if you've got any comments for us, you can contact us in the show notes. Until next time, thanks so much for listening. Please be safe.